Waymo just launched a brand new Robotaxi last week, and it's not a Cadillac, it's not a Genesis, and it's not even a Tesla. It's a Chinese-built minivan, and that one detail tells you everything you need to know about whether autonomous vehicles are actually coming for the Uber Black business. Now, I'm going to show you the numbers from the last 30 days. The news that nobody in this space is connecting the dots on, and the 3 things Robotaxi will never do that every single black car client is paying me for. So let's get into it. So here's what happened. On July 23rd, Waymo rolled out a new vehicle called Ojai. It's launching in LA, San Francisco, and Phoenix. And on paper, it sounds impressive. Sliding doors, flat floor, 3 screens, accessibility features, and more legroom than their old cars. But here's the part that nobody's talking about. The Ojai is built by a Chinese company called Zeekr, and it ships to Arizona and it gets the self-driving hardware installed there. Now, the all-in cost per vehicle is around $50,000 to $55,000. Now, you compare that to the car Waymo has been using for years, that retrofitted Jaguar I-Pace, and that vehicle costs somewhere between $150,000 to $200,000 each once you add all the sensors. Now, Waymo is not moving up market, they're moving down. They're retiring the Jaguar. They're bringing in the cheaper Ojai, and after that, they're going to retrofit the Hyundai Ioniq 5S, which is even cheaper. The entire Robotaxi industry, Waymo, Tesla with the Cybercab, and Zoox with their pod thing in Vegas, well, the entire industry is racing to the bottom on cost per mile. ARK Invest projects Waymo will be at 40 cents a mile by 2030. Tesla's Cybercab at 20 cents a mile. That's an UberX war. Uber Black, they charge $3 to $5 a mile, and sometimes more depending on the market. And we're not in the same business. We were never in the same business. Nobody flies first class to save on a taxi. Okay, let's get specific. What is a black car client actually paying for? Because if the answer is a ride from A to B, then yes, long-term robo-taxis eat that. But that's not what they're paying for. And I know this because I do this every single day. And here are 3 things a robo-taxi will never replace. Number 1 is opening the door and loading luggage. A robo-taxi has automatic doors. Great. But nobody gets out to grab 2 roller bags and a garment bag off the curb at LAX. My airport clients coming out of Terminal 5 with a laptop bag, a roll board, and a garment bag, sometimes a golf club case. I load all of it. I close the trunk and I open the back door. They sit down and they're already relaxed. That is the product. A Waymo pulls up, the door slides open, your customer is standing there with their hands full looking at an empty trunk they can't reach. That's not happening. Number 2 is handling the human moments. I'm talking about the real stuff that happens in this business. Now, say a kid throws up in the back seat. A robotaxi keeps driving to the destination and they call a remote agent on a call center headset. Me, I pull over, I grab some wipes from my center console, and we handle it like humans. Now, say you have a wedding party running 15 minutes late from the hotel. I wait. They text me updates and I move the car to a covered entrance because it just started raining. A robotaxi hits the dwell timer and it drives off. Then your client's flight gets moved from Terminal 4 to Terminal 7 while they're in the air. Well, I already know because I've been watching the flight. I reroute before they text me, and a robotaxi, well, they just follow whatever the app says. That's not a software problem, that's a human problem, and a human solves those problems. Number 3 is the experience that they're actually paying for. Water in the door, mints in the center console, and phone charging cables like Lightning or USB-C already plugged in. Temperature is already set to 71 degrees because that is what Mr. Rodriguez likes. And it starts off like, "Good morning, Mr. Rodriguez. Congratulations on your promotion. Where are we headed today?" That is not something that you can code. The XT6, the the Escalade, the Suburban, or the GV80, that vehicle is the table stakes, and the person in the suit is the product. And by the way, Waymo's own accessibility testing proves this. A blind rider tested both a Tesla Robotaxi and a Waymo just a couple weeks ago. Neither one of them helped him get in. Neither one helped him get out. The Waymo talked to him during the ride, which was nice, but the pickup point was half a block away and the app map wasn't screen reader accessible. For a black car client with mobility needs, a real human is not a nice to have, it's the whole reason that they call. Now, I want to be fair here because I don't want anybody watching this thinking that I'm saying robotaxis are a joke, because they're not. Waymo is doing over 500,000 paid rides a week across 10 plus US cities. That is real. That is growing, and on short, urban, low complexity trips, they're actually pretty good. But look at where those trips happen. Downtown San Francisco, Phoenix suburbs, and Austin bar districts on a Friday night. These are short urban hops. The exact kind of ride that used to be a $5 UberX ride. Now, here's the part that nobody talks about. Robotaxis cannot legally pick you up at most airports. As of July 25th, 2026, which was literally last week, there are only 4 US airports where a robotaxi can pick you up. You have Phoenix Sky Harbor, San Jose, San Francisco, and San Antonio. And that's from the rental car center, not the terminal, so you're taking the AirTran to get your car. That's it. LAX, no robotaxi curbside pickup. Atlanta? Nope. Miami? Nope. JFK, LaGuardia, or Newark? Nope. Dallas, Chicago, Boston? Nope. Every major business travel airport in this country, no robotaxi pickup at the terminal. Uber Black is 90% airport runs. 90%. You do the math. And one more thing. Waymo suspended freeway trips in Phoenix and a few other cities back in May to work on construction and flood zone handling. Uber Black clients live on the freeway. We're doing 35, 45-minute runs, not 4-block hops downtown. Okay, this is the part that literally nobody is connecting to Black Car. And it's the most important story to rideshare right now. Uber and Waymo are getting a divorce. June 29th, Uber and Waymo ended their robotaxi partnership in Phoenix. It's done, it's over. Then July 24th, 5 days ago, Waymo notified Uber that they're pulling out of Austin and Atlanta in January of 2028. That's the other 2 markets where you could haul a Waymo through the Uber app. It's gone. So Uber's response? They went to Washington, D.C. and started lobbying regulators to require that any ride-haul network operating in districts has to include human drivers alongside any robotaxis. In other words, Uber's fighting to keep drivers on the platform. They're not just tolerating us, they're lobbying for us. But why? Because Uber Black is Uber's highest margin. It's their highest retention tier, and it's the tier that robotaxis physically cannot serve. Uber does not want to be Waymo. Uber wants to be Uber, which means Uber wants humans on the platform, especially premium humans, driving premium cars, serving premium clients that come back every single week. Now, Uber is fighting for our business because it's their business. So let's talk about what you should actually be doing if you drive Uber Black, or if you want to. Well, first is double down on the service. Not the car, the service. The car is the table stakes. Every black driver has a nice car. That's not what separates you. Cleanliness, water, greeting by name, remembering preferences, that's the moat. Robotaxis literally cannot compete on this access. Number 2 is build direct clients. Get off the app for your regulars. Every repeat client you take direct is one that Robotaxi cannot touch because the client isn't opening the Uber app, they're texting you. corporate accounts, weddings, executive contracts. A Waymo cannot bid on any of that. Then number 3 is own your vehicle if you can. I've talked about rent versus own before. The math gets even more important now that becoming the price war with UberX is going to squeeze rental drivers hard. If you're paying a fleet $300 a week for a Kia and the market on economy rides is collapsing, well, that math stops working. Look, robotaxis are coming, and that's real. And they're going to eat the bottom of the market. The $5 downtown hops, the short suburb to suburb rides, and the UberX airport pickups for the college kid with a backpack. The drivers who are going to lose are the drivers sitting in a rented Kia doing minimum fare trips. The drivers who are going to win are the ones building a real service business. Real cars, real clients, real permits, and real relationships. Now, if you want to learn how to actually build this, the permits, the insurance, the platforms, and the direct client game, got a full playlist on this channel, and I got a Patreon where you can get monthly phone calls for $29 a month. So the link is in the description. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Do you think robotaxis are coming for Uber Black? And what's one thing you do for your clients that a Waymo could never replicate? Ask me anything about this episode and tell me what you think, because I read every single comment. Now, subscribe if you haven't, hit that like button, and remember, drive better, drive smarter, and drive without the frustrations.